Welcome to another episode of Fringe
Beyond Limits.
Welcome back, everyone.
Hey. Howdy ho.
How are you guys doing?
It's been a week.
It's always been a week.
It's always been a week. But yesterday I went for a walk in the woods and I feel much better.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Were you Little Red Riding Hood or the wolf?
I was Snow White.
Mm.
Because a deer walked within feet of me and he just stood there and it looked at me. And then I had a squirrel following me and I had chipmunks and birds following me. I was having my little Snow White moment.
Snow White moment.
Yeah.
All right. Is there a wicked witch to poison you?
Life.
Life is poison you. All right.
It's like a good metaphor. Yeah.
Do you at least have a Prince Charming to kiss you back alive?
I do.
Okay, good.
You just have to find me in the woods, though. Gotta find her first.
I'm not sure that's where Prince Charming will be looking.
Well, isn't that how Snow White? She was in a coffin in the woods under glass, like a cheese board.
Yes, like on display.
Yeah.
She's presenting. All right. Yeah, so Bree, you?
I got my mattress.
Oh. How was it?
It's comfy.
You break it in?
Just sleeping in it normal right now.
Okay.
That's disappointing.
Well,
Notice that was Lynette that asked that, not me.
it was that time of the month, so no.
No.
Like, what do you mean?
It was the time of the month.
For
Time-
sleeping.
Time for sleeping?
Yeah,
Yes.
duh. What
am I-
else would it be?
I have no idea. I've never heard anybody say it's that time of the month.
Yeah. My period. Yeah.
Like an
Like a dot.
like an exclamation point?
Like a dot. Like boom.
Okay. I don't know what that is.
I got
Alright.
nothing for you, sir.
Yeah, I got nothing, and I have no idea how to comment on that.
What's the other name? Aunt
Flo.
Flo.
Like Florence? Is that so short
Yeah,
for Florence?
yeah.
I didn't know you and Missy had an Aunt Florence.
Yeah.
Oh.
Things that you don't know.
She's also on those progressive commercials.
Oh.
And also the video games Diner Dash.
Mm-hmm.
The main character's Flo.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I remember that game.
I don't know an Aunt Flo.
I've actually always wondered if they modeled the progressive lady after her because they look almost similar.
Oh, interesting.
If you think about it,
I can't think about it because I don't know what the Diner Dash lady looks like.
look it up. You have the computer in front of you. Google it.
Yeah, I'm not going to Google that. Probably something like a bleeding vagina might pull up or something. I don't know what the guys are talking about.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Well,
How was your week?
yeah, it was great. It was nice. It sucked. I need more alcohol.
Just all of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was great.
Well, you got enough wine to last your year here, so I think you have enough.
Yeah, I do. So I'm gonna just start chugging wine.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll have that competition later.
Instead of a beer bong, it's wine bong.
Wine bong.
Yeah.
Bong of wine.
Bong wine.
Bong wine. I think that flows better.
It Aunt flows better.
Bong wine.
Yeah, pretty much. Aunt Flo flows better with the bong of wine.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. Red, right? Red wine?
Red wine.
Yeah. All right. So we got things that keep you up at night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We still doing that?
Yeah.
Okay, great. I'm all for it. Do you guys want to start off with one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
If you think about it, the voice in your head can scream louder, whisper, and speak in a normal voice, but it's always the same volume. Never noticed that?
No.
Yeah, technically it's always the same volume, even though it's yelling at you.
I have more than one voice in my head.
Dude, that's what I was actually going to bring up for what keeps me up at night was voices in head. So
Great minds think alike.
this is interesting.
Great voices in your head think alike.
Maybe it's just a collective voice.
I just think it's different people in my head.
But it's always the same volume.
No, it's not.
Mm-hmm.
Not in my head. You don't know what goes on in my head.
I don't think anyone wants to know what goes on in your head.
No, nobody does.
Like, it's not like aliens will come down to research on your head and then they'll actually drop you back off because they're too scared.
If they try doing that, I will guarantee that they will have seizures nonstop for the rest of their being.
Well, at least we know that aliens won't ever come to our planet anymore after that happens.
Yeah, no. My mind will scare them away. So I'm that's why I'm not scared of aliens. Bring them on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, shit. So what was yours now, Lynette?
Mine was just that the voices sometimes are different. Sometimes it sounds female, sometimes it sounds male, sometimes it sounds like me, sometimes it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know if anybody else experienced anything like that.
I actually read somewhere when I was reading about being intuitive that if you have voices in your head like that, it means that you are clairvoyant, or not clairvoyant. You talk to dead people, basically.
Oh.
It's like a sign.
Great.
So you talk to dead people.
Well, they don't tell me anything fun.
Why not?
I don't know. I try asking questions like, who is this? And I get nothing. Do you ever hear different tones or voices or accents or like?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. I just thought it was my own little internal monologue. Just today I'm going to have a British accent.
Yeah.
And,
Right, yeah.
and tomorrow I'm going to sound like I'm from Kentucky or something,
Yeah. I mean, that sounds par for the course. I just
Please don't lock me away.
Please.
That's not the reason I'm going to lock you away.
Oh.
Yeah.
What is?
Oh, just we have 18 past episodes we can go back and listen to. There's plenty. There's plenty. So I think what keeps me awake at night is caffeine.
Yeah.
Yeah, caffeine will keep me awake and not let me sleep.
Physically and mentally, or one or the other?
Mentally.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm always physically
like body
tired.
Is tired.
Yeah.
But brain is.
Yeah, at this age, your body is always tired. Like, it's just ready to pack it in, pack it up, pack it in. Let me begin. Sorry. Yeah, it's ready to call it a day and say goodbye. And my mind is like, no, not yet.
No, yeah.
Let's do this now.
It happens to me all the time when I stop drinking caffeine and I'm still doing it.
Yeah.
So it's not the caffeine for me.
No, it's the caffeine for me. That's what keeps me up at night. So
You should switch to herbal tea.
herbal tea,
Herbal tea.
Chamomile.
herbal chamomile.
Chamomile.
I'm gonna tell you something. We're hitting some great stuff in this episode already. Talking about herbal tea and chamomile. I mean, people listening are enthralled.
Well, we're going to break their brain with today's episode.
Yeah, what is that?
We want to talk about, or I want to talk about, because I won't stop talking about, the Leave the World Behind Netflix.
So the Netflix movie,
Yeah. Leave
the World Behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
There are 10,000 Easter eggs in this film, and I don't think I'll ever watch a film the same ever again in my life.
Okay.
Just there's so many things that it feels intentional. So
Mm-hmm.
I just want to talk about some of them because they're kind of mindfucky.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I like mindfucky. That's going to be.
See, from chamomile tea to mindfucky.
Yeah. There's no places we won't go here. So, all right. So
did you guys watch it?
I watched it the one time. I know I said I was going to rewatch it. The weekend got away from me.
That's fine.
But I did watch it one time.
I'm watching it, and this is actually one of those things that's keeping me up at night because my mind doesn't understand one thing in that movie, and I am frustrated.
Sexually?
That too.
Oh, well, I mean, you have a brand new mattress that you could have
It needs
broken
to be
in,
broken in.
but you chose not to. So I put that on you.
My husband's
meant
too
by-
busy with this new PlayStation 5, so
Well, you know.
I just meant by jumping on the bed. What were you talking about?
Oh, just jumping on it?
Yeah,
I
like
mean-
a kid jumping on the bed.
No, I'm pretty sure that's not what you meant.
Oh, we also got it's an adjustable base. So it goes.
Oh,
Is
see?
it is the entire thing adjustable, or each side singularly separately adjustable?
You can adjust the head part, the feet part.
But like
Right.
right and left?
Yeah.
Can
Well,
they be
no,
different?
it's one whole main bed, so we can't have. Yeah.
Gotcha.
We didn't do two separate
Yeah.
tiny beds.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Tiny beds.
So it's not like two hospital beds put together.
correct.
Okay.
It's one big bed.
See, you should have done two hospital beds put together, because then when you're not wanting to, you can just pull your bed away from it, and Brian can't reach you. You can sleep like
Damn
you.
it.
Yeah, you can sleep like like from the 1950s, they have two separate beds in the bedroom.
Got an invention. They need to make, when you want separation, like those first class seats
like
that have the windows with the partition.
Yeah, with the partition.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
Get your feet off my side of the bed. Cut them toenails.
So a little dive into the male mind. Males will not share a bed
with each other.
Okay. Yeah. So, which is weird.
My husband shared a bed with his friends.
Listen, I have no problem sharing a bed, and friends of mine are like, no, we're not sharing a bed. I go, why not? They're like, because that's just gay. I go, that's not gay.
No, that's sleeping.
No, that's far from it.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let's put pillows in between us. I go, you think a pillow fort is going to stop me if I wanted to fuck you? No, that's not going to stop me.
Fort.
Yeah. I mean, that's not going to stop. A little pillow bridge. Guess what? My rock hard penis, you won't see it, but will not be stopped by pillows. My
husband grabbed his friend's butt once, thinking that he was sleeping with a girl. He moved around and he grabbed.
And that's why men don't share bed.
And that's why none of them will share a bed with my husband anymore.
Hey, where's your hand in between two pillows? Those aren't pillows. What movie?
I thought you just made it up.
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Never seen it.
Steve Martin and...
Nope.
Really?
Never seen it.
Wow.
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember anything of it.
Okay.
I mean, I heard the title.
Yeah.
Just never seen it.
All right. So anyway, yeah, I mean, so that's just a little venture into me and my friends. I'm like, yeah, a pillow won't stop me from fucking you.
Oh, that's why no one wants to share a bed with you.
Right. I absolutely. Because I'll fuck anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Poor
Missy. Like dig a little hole into the pillow fort.
100%. I always have a knife with me.
I didn't mean with the knife.
Oh, well, with
your micro penis.
With Stanley?
Yeah.
Do you know why it's called Stanley?
Because it's a steamer?
No. Like the power drill.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That's Stanley. There's a lot of Stanleys out there.
I know, but I mean, come on. Jesus. All right. So I don't know how we got off this topic, but that was great. All right. So unraveling the apocalypse, decoding, leave the world behind.
Done.
All right. So in the intriguing world of Leave the World Behind, the movie that has sparked some interesting conversations and disturbing theories. So what kind of theories has it sparked, Lynette?
Wow, you're just going to come right at me.
Oh,
I have 18 pieces of paper
here. I know. I see.
It's going to take a while to get to page 10. That's where everything's at.
All right. So what some may not know is the 2023 Netflix movie, Leave the World Behind, was based on the 2020 novel by author Rumaan Alam. Both the book and film explore a number of theories about what might be happening to the world. Alam's book was a finalist for the 2020 National Book Award in the category of fiction, was on the 23 bestsellers, and one of Barack Obama's summer favorites. Now, what's interesting is that it came out in 2020, and something else happened in 2020.
Yep.
The pandemic.
Boom, boom, boom.
Pandemic.
Dun, dun, dun. All right.
I think you just blew out the speakers.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least I'm blowing something. Netflix's adaptation retains the book's premise, but makes some notable changes to the plot and characters. Director Sam Esmail, who also directed series like Mr. Robot and Homecoming, stated that he aimed to create a standalone piece, a separate interpretation of the story rather than a carbon copy of the book. Seeing as this film was co-produced by the Obamas, who were going to focus on the creative liberties they took when making this film with some interspersed details of the novel. Spoiler alert, if you have not read this book or seen this film, we are going to discuss the details and conclusion in the podcast episode.
Mm-hmm.
Please do, because I'm still confused.
You're still confused as to why the chicken crossed the road.
Oh, because I wanted to get to the other side. Ding.
Ding.
So, that was just ridiculous.
You started it.
This suspenseful and provocative novel is keenly attuned to the complexities of parenthood, race, and class. The apocalyptic psychological thriller film takes it a step further to illustrate the breakdown of social order when we no longer have our technology. Leave the World Behind also explores how our even closest bonds are reshaped and unexpected new ones are forged during times of crisis.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so
I was just going to say, let's just run through a breakdown of the film, and
okay, yeah, so we'll go.
Then we can kind of pull out some of the fun.
Love it.
Tidbits.
All right, so yeah, we'll run through the synopsis here. All right, so with Leave the World Behind, characters Clay and Amanda Sanford, played by Julia Roberts and Ethan Hawke, arrange an impromptu weekend getaway vacation to a remote corner of Long Island with their kids Archie and Rose, played by Charlie Evans and Farrah McKenzie. Looking for a quiet reprieve from a busy life in New York City and some quality family time, Amanda rents a luxurious home for the week. After arriving at the rental, Amanda goes to the store. While shopping for groceries, Amanda sees a man who later learn is Danny, played by Kevin Bacon, stocking up on large quantities of canned food and water. Clay and the kids stay back at the house. The kids are swimming in the pool, and Clay is prepping a meal, watching a baseball game, relaxing. After Amanda returns, they decide to make it a beach day. Later, while the family is relaxing at a nearby beach, they nearly evade an oil tanker that runs aground and crashes onto the shore merely yards away from where they sat. On their drive home from the beach, they act as if nothing ever happened. When they return to the house, they notice the TV and Wi-Fi are not working, and a pair of deer stare at them. After the kids had gone to bed, Amanda and Clay are enjoying a nightcap and a game of Jenga, but are interrupted by a late-night knock at the door. The knock comes from the homeowner, George H.G.H. Scott, with his daughter Ruth, played by Mahershala Ali and Mia Hala. They arrive in a calm state and with somewhat reserved panic look to their demeanor. They are seeking to shelter in their home. Cell phones are not working. GH explains that a blackout has swept the city and is the cause for their return. Should Amanda and Clay trust this couple and vice versa? What happened back in New York? Is the vacation home isolated enough from civilization? Is it a truly safe place for their families? And are they safe from each other? So Lynette, these are like questions that are running through
the viewer's mind.
The viewer's mind. So what were you thinking at this moment part of the movie?
There's very clear like racism and profiling and jumping to conclusions on the characters.
Mm-hmm.
That definitely caught my eye. Kind of just depicting U.S. culture as it is today. You know, you have the Amanda character who is someone who works in relationships for her day job, but she makes very microaggressive kind of comments. And her husband, Clay, kind of gives the impression that he's kinder, but he's got this kind of aloof demeanor about him. Like, yeah, let's just have some people we don't know stay in the house with us. And yeah, so that's what, you know, but then you kind of ask yourself, well, what would I do if I was at a vacation house and somebody knocked on the door and says, this is my house?
Right.
You know, how would you react?
Right.
You're far away from home. You don't know this person from Adam because you booked it on Airbnb or Vrbo.
Right.
So how do you know?
Right.
So,
right. Bree, what were you thinking during this part? Do you even remember this part of the movie?
I do, because my first thought was, is this a thriller? And I thought, these people are going to get killed. And that's what my...
So you immediately jumped off as the black people were evil and are going to get murdered, the white people.
No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just like, it just reminded me like one of those thriller movies where people stay in the middle of nowhere and then other people are like, oh, this is our place. And now we're going to convince you that this is our place, but we're going to actually come in and kill you.
See, so what I thought was, this is what I thought. I thought that it was really the African-American people's house and the white people weren't going to believe them and somehow take them hostage.
Oh.
And like, you know what I mean, to keep themselves safe.
Yeah.
So that's where I was kind of wondering, thinking that was the road it was going to go down. But then I kept remembering that, well, this is like an apocalyptic type of movie. So I think it's got a broader narrative, some maybe not, maybe. And so I was kind of going back and forth and trying to figure out ahead of time how this was going to play out. So yeah, that's where I was at.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I actually never thought the whole entire movie was anything had to do with race.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It didn't pop in my head.
Yeah. Well,
I was just trying to figure out if this was a thriller or not.
yeah, I mean, no, I mean, the Julia Roberts character definitely had
I just thought she was a bitch.
No, I really thought that there was some major underlying racist tones to how she acted towards them.
Yeah, there was so many cringeworthy comments.
I just thought she hated people because at the very beginning she goes, I hate people.
Yeah.
And then that's why I just thought it's just she just didn't like people.
Yeah, but when you're exposed to racism, that's usually a phrase people say when they're directing it towards only a certain type of person.
No.
And unfortunately, I've been around a lot of racist people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, not just racist, homophobic,
Oh, yeah.
racist, you know, just small-minded, closed-minded people. It's amazing that I turned out so well-balanced.
Oh, so balanced.
Oh, jeez. So Amanda is suspicious. Oh, look at that. It kind of just picks up right where we talked about. Amanda is suspicious and doesn't want them to stay. Clay, however, decides he trusts them enough and lets them stay the night in the basement. Later in the night, the television switches to display an emergency warning from the emergency broadcast system on all channels. The next morning, Rose is frustrated that the Wi-Fi and TV are still down, which has prevented her from watching the series finale of Friends. Now, Rose is the daughter of Julia Roberts, right?
Yes.
Okay. So she couldn't watch the series finale of Friends. Amanda notices 4 news alerts on the phone, 2 of which are about the blackout affecting the East Coast, the third alert about a hacker attack being behind the power outage, and the final one beginning with the word breaking and containing corrupted or encrypted text. Attempting to learn more about the disruptions and what's going on, Clay says he will drive into town to find a newspaper and talk to the locals. GH, who is the African-American person,
Yep.
right?
The homeowner.
The homeowner says he is going to head over to the neighbor, Huxley's house, to check on them and see if they know anything. Amanda, Ruth, and the kids are to stay home. Ruth is very concerned about nearby power plant as she believes this is the first place cyber attackers would hack to cause this outage. So, where do you guys have anything interesting thoughts at this point of the movie where it seems as though like every scary movie, the one thing you shouldn't do is break up and go your own way. And this is exactly what at least 2 characters are doing.
That's a good point. I didn't even, I don't watch enough movies.
Yeah, no, you don't do movies.
I just obsess over 1 or 2 of them.
Well, thank you for bringing this into our life.
But yeah, that's a really good point. If you're in a place of emergency, let's all scatter.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
and you can't get a hold of anybody because there's no...
Right. And then on top of that, I mean, the 2 men, right, who are...
By socio-definition.
Right. This is not, my belief system, because I think that the Julia Roberts character is much more protective than her husband in this movie. Mm-hmm. But the 2 men are the ones that decide to go and leave all the women and children behind, which is weird. Like if you would do that, I would think you would kind of do it in groups.
Right.
Yeah. Like
partner up, buddy system or something.
Right. So.
But also it seemed like Clay just wanted to get away. As much as he's like, I'm just going to go grab a newspaper and see if I can help. The perception I had from him was, I can't be around my kids and family right now. They're stressing me out.
Yeah. He did seem very weak-minded.
Yes.
Yeah, I do agree. Like not good under pressure, not good in stressful situations. Right. He needs everything to be copacetic and relaxed.
I like that word.
You do?
Yeah.
Oh, you're welcome. I'll say it one more time. Copacetic.
Ooh.
So he definitely seems like a very weak-minded individual. Mm-hmm. Privileged almost.
Yes.
Yeah. Bree, any thoughts? Any questions?
Well, during this part, I even got more confused. I'm like, okay, maybe GH and his daughter are not bad people. And they're because they're working together now, so I'm confused. I'm like, okay, maybe this is not a thriller anymore. But I'm like, Clay's leaving. He's probably going to be the first one to die.
Yeah.
That was my first thought.
Weakest link.
Yeah, 100%. He should have died.
Yeah, he should have.
I would have murdered him if I was there. All right, so Clay gets lost without his GPS. He pulls over and exits his car to look around. missing a few seconds of clear reception on the radio broadcasting news of the cyber attack having catastrophic environmental effects in the South and also impacting animal migration patterns. A little while later, Clay comes across a frantic and panicked Spanish-speaking woman on the side of the street. Clay, not knowing any Spanish or what to do, drives away and abandons the woman on the road. After speeding away from the woman, he encounters a drone dropping leaflets written in Arabic. GH searches the neighbor's home, finds a satellite phone inside, and determines that there is no signal from the satellites. On the beach nearby, he discovers the wreckage of a recent plane crash just before narrowly escaping another airliner crashing. Rose sees a massive herd of deer standing motionless in the backyard. Rose walks with Archie in the woods where they come across an empty shed, and Archie removes a tick from his ankle on the way back. While the kids are out, GH confides to Amanda the events he has witnessed. He thinks the satellite connectivity has been disrupted, but he is cut off by a loud bang, followed by a massive ear-piercing shrill noise that causes everyone to fall to their knees screaming and covering their ears.
I hated this part of the movie. That noise, like I muted it just because it was so uncomfortable to hear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe I had my speakers up too loud, but
maybe.
probably.
It
was brutal.
Can you hear me now?
What?
Yeah. So Amanda is Julia Roberts, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I didn't like the fact that GH kept Ruth, is his daughter, out of the conversation because she is an adult.
Right.
So I think they should have definitely not let the kids know anything like going on at this point, which I agree. But all the adults should have been on the same page.
I just think he didn't really want her to know about the airplane thing because they were expecting her mom, his wife, to come back on a plane. So he didn't want to freak her out with that. That was the main issue. It was more of a father protecting his child.
Yeah.
Even though it doesn't matter how old they are.
I understand, but at the same time...
Well, the daughter knew something.
Yeah.
She was semi on the inside.
Yeah, and you really need to let your children, especially adults, make their own decisions. You can't make it for them, and I feel by withholding, all that's going to do is drive a wedge into their relationship during this period where everyone needs to be together and trust everyone wholeheartedly and without question. So by doing this, all he's doing is giving her a reason to distrust him again in the future by not telling her everything.
That's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
But as mentioned before, like a big portion of this book and movie was to talk about like parenting.
Yeah.
And how different folks raise their kids in everyone's might have a strict household, might have a lax household, might have an abandoned type of household,
right?
Or what is the phrase, like helicopter
mom
or parent or whatever.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But you bring up a good point. Like by making that decision, how does that potentially impact future relationship moving forward?
Right. Especially during cyber attack, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's the only. I mean, I could understand a teenager and younger, but as an adult, you know that you raised your child to be X. So GH seemed like a very strong-willed, had his head on straight, and so if he and Ruth seemed like a very confident, strong woman.
Yeah, but there was one moment where Ruth and Amanda were sitting at the kitchen counter or whatever, and they were talking about what they do for a living or something like that. And there was one part where Ruth says, I'm kind of in between things. I'm trying to like figure myself out. I don't want to commit to anything. So, because the whole time I'm wondering, like, how old is she? Is she late 20s, early 20s? But I think that kind of gave it away that she's maybe just recently graduated. And while she's got some pieces figured out, she also still has a little bit of that undeveloped brainchild type of personality or perspective, I should say.
Yeah. But I mean, I agree. But she still comes off as a very strong, independent woman, which was awesome to see in a movie. Mm-hmm. So I think her father sees that as well and should have
Fair.
You know, I mean, I get trying to protect your kids, but you know, it comes a point to where we all need to band together and work through this together. So I don't know. I mean, it's nice that we all have different opinions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know you're not Clay. You're not just going to run away.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
I would do something stupid and probably get us all killed.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great.
probably.
So, back at the house, Amanda recalls a man stockpiling supplies whom GH assumes to be Danny, his contractor. Clay returns shaken with the leaflet, which Archie partially translates as Death to America. The Sanfords decide to drive to Amanda's sisters in New Jersey, but find the expressway jammed with collided brand new self-driving Teslas. They narrowly avoid more incoming Tesla cars, continuing to drive into the pile, and are forced to return to GH's house.
Did this scene like fuck with your head?
You know, to tell you the truth, when I saw that, I kind of thought that the cars had a mind of their own, like almost like Terminator, like the machines came to life. But then as I started thinking, like, oh, well, it makes sense if it's a cyber attack. These are just going haywire.
Yeah, they got, well, and the screen only showed it for a few moments. When she's looking at the window sticker, it says, summon my car to the parking lot, auto driving, self-driving, blah, blah, blah. So if it was a cyber attack and hackers just summoned all the cars to drive to a certain point, whether it's off a cliff or to a bridge or to whatever.
Right.
Can you imagine being in one of those?
Oh, I cannot.
I was more, when I watched that, but the first thought I was like, why are they all white?
Because there's like only like...
There's only white cars. Like, none of them, there's no black, there's no red, there's...
Well, Elon said you can get the car, like, he just recently did this, but you can only get his cars in, I think, black or white. And if you want a different color, or maybe you can only get it in white, but if you want a different color, you have to pay for it now. And a lot of auto manufacturers are doing that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Because
I
it's
don't
cheaper
like
for
white
them.
cars.
It's cheaper for them.
How is it cheaper? I mean, you don't
You
pay...
just buy a bucket of, you don't have to custom blend colors. You just buy buckets and buckets of white paint.
Yeah, but I mean, even if it's a color, you're still paying the same amount for red paint than you are for white paint.
Well, no, you as the consumer pays an upcharge to have
I understand
a red
that.
car.
But what I'm saying is a manufacturer, even if I go to
but if you
Benjamin
can buy
Moore,
in-
but if I go to Benjamin Moore, there's not a different price for each color paint that I buy. It's all the same price. If I want a gallon of paint of X, Y, or Z, it's the same.
Yeah, but by streamlining your process, you save money. You don't have to buy blue and red and green and orange and blah, 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 blah.
Well,
For one car. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can mass produce everything in one color.
It's just manufacturers being cheap.
Yeah.
it's just corporate greed.
It's also corporate greed.
That too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it boils down to.
Uh-huh.
All right. So throughout the night, Ruth asks Clay provocative questions, and they later discover flamingos in the pool. Amanda and GH establish a friendly bond, but they are cut off by a second shrill noise and the power fails. Later, when all four family members are huddled together in the same bed, Rose tells Amanda a version of the parable of the drowning man from an episode of The West Wing. Archie falls asleep, burning up with a fever. What was the slight twist?
So when I actually researched the West Wing parable, it was actually entitled Two Boats in a Helicopter. Whereas the example that Rose gives as she's falling asleep was a radio transmission as a warning, a boat to save you, and a ladder from a helicopter. So the difference is there was a radio heads up instead of two boats trying to come save you.
Gotcha.
My eyes are burning. I'm not crying.
The next morning, Archie's teeth inexplicably fall out. Believing it is related to the tick bite, GH suggests visiting Danny for medicine. Rose is now missing, and GH and Clay take Archie to visit Danny, while Amanda and Ruth search for Rose. At the shed, the two are confronted by an even larger herd of deer, which they scare away. GH and Clay attempt to convince Danny to help Archie, which results in an armed standoff between GH and Danny. Clay intervenes, convincing Danny to help Archie. Danny informs them that another neighbor may be equipped with an underground bunker and suggests that the shrill noises, which have most likely led to Archie's teeth falling out, result from the use of microwave weapons. So it was cool to see at the shed with the herd of deer, that Amanda basically saved Ruth because Ruth froze.
Yeah. Also, when you said the shed, my brain immediately went to the shed aquarium, and I thought you were going to tell an anecdote. So it took me a second to reel that back in.
I'm just going to put this in your mind. I am not that clever.
To go to the shed?
Yeah.
No, there was a lot to unpack with this part, but I don't even know which place to start. But when I was watching the film and his teeth were falling out, and obviously also with that sound thing, was that actually did happen in Cuba. People were being bombarded with radio waves causing headaches and their teeth to fall out and things of that nature. 60 Minutes even did an episode on it of how politicians are being targeted by radio waves, whether you can auditorily hear it or you can't hear it because it's outside of the threshold of hearing.
It's called the Havana syndrome.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah.
I've heard of it.
So when that happened, I was like, ooh.
Yeah, I was hoping you would bring that up.
Yeah.
I don't want to step on your toes.
When I saw the teeth coming out, my first thought was Cabin Fever, that movie.
Yeah, I don't think Lynette did that movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that movie.
That's why I looked at you. That's why I didn't look at Lynette.
Yeah. What I first thought of was, if you dream, I think this is an Italian thing, if you dream of your teeth falling out, that's a bad omen.
I've had a couple of dreams in the past.
Yeah, did bad things happen afterwards?
I can't even tell you.
Well, it's supposed to indicate change. So that change could be bad, but it...
Yeah, well, I mean, Italian
Or it
ones,
could mean like you're letting go of something too, so that might even be cutting people out of your life as well. Like it could be tumultuous.
Yeah.
Or it could just be part of the natural process.
Yeah, maybe.
Or technically even both, right?
It could be one of a million different things.
Sure.
Yeah. In the movie, GH theorizes that an enemy might be trying to destabilize the United States through a cyber attack, information blackout, and civil war. GH tells Clay and Archie that on the basis of his work with military contractors, the country is in a 3-stage campaign leading first to breakdown of social order and resulting in a coup d'etat or civil war. He believes that people will be forced to turn against each other and that the families need to take shelter in a bunker to survive. At the same time, Amanda and Ruth watch New York City's skyline being bombed with gunfire and mushroom clouds. Rose then finds the neighbor's house with a bunker. Inside, a computer message warns of attacks by rogue military elements and elevated radiation levels in many U.S. cities. She also finds the DVD Friends and watches the series finale. And that, spoiler alert, is how the movie ends. So...
And I'm still confused.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise anyone here. But, so, that was the general synopsis. Lynette, where would you like to start?
Oh, boy. I guess maybe the first thing that caught my mind in this film was the usage of color. There was a very distinct red and blue and black and white.
Okay.
So if you know anything about color theory and things of that nature, that blue is a serene color. It's supposed to bring peace. It's supposed to kind of calm you down. And that color was typically used in the film when the main characters were living in normal times or status quo, or when things were of the usual prediction. They could predict, things. And then the color red was thrown in there when controversy, when upheaval, when something dramatic or something dangerous happens, potentially. And then you have a lot of this black and white of, I think, indicating a dichotomy. Of you have, and you can even take the colors, you can take it political, you can take it personal,
sure.
you can take it from an emotional standpoint, but there was very much, whether it's the lighting or the clothes or the house or the car, everything had very, what I think is strategic use of color. And I thought it was actually pretty creative as well. It obviously depicts mood, and the other thing that really jumped out at me, and I caught it the first time, I don't know if you guys noticed it, but the artwork on the walls changed throughout the film.
I did not catch that.
I did not catch it either.
Yeah. So
The one thing I did catch, though, is to your point on the colors, is that when just before GH and Ruth, right? Ruth show up and they're playing Jenga, having wine, the entire hue of the movie went dark.
Yeah.
You know, like it was just.
There was almost like a filter.
Like a dark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a grayish shadow,
right.
Dark. Yeah.
Right. Right when the doorbell rings, I feel as when it kind of switched over to that dark hue. So I did catch that. And from that point forward, nothing, even when they're out in the pool during the day, it seemed like it was an overcast, even though the sun was shining.
Yeah, you can clearly see that there was sun on their skin. It had a very flat or muted type of color to it.
Yes. So yeah, I did notice that, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I did not notice the artwork changing throughout the movie.
Yeah. So in the main living room where the dining room table is, there was a massive, I mean, you really can't miss it, artwork that showed about four little triangles or steeples. They're all abstract art. And it, in a sense, it kind of depicts the characters in the film. And at one point, Julia Roberts is standing in front of the tallest triangle. Clearly, she's the head of the household or whatever.
Right.
But as the film goes on, that image becomes more and more distorted. And just as their life is becoming a little bit more and more chaotic. So here. And then towards the end of the film, it's like a complete mess. It's not even close to what the artwork looked like before.
Oh, wow. That's
there was
really
also waves behind the headboard of the primary bedroom. And when they first moved to the house, it's pretty calm, serene. The waves are low. As things start to happen, the wave starts getting higher and higher. And towards the end of the film, they're fully covered in the waves. And it's also that drama of they're kind of in over their head.
Right. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
That was a nice catch.
Yeah. Another thing is there was a constant representation of 666.
Oh, really?
In the film.
Okay.
It seems like everywhere you looked, right from the very opening scene when Clay is in bed, he has a clock next to him, a coffee cup, and a clock on the other side of the bed that said 666. The house had windows that were 6x6, broken down into 6x6 grids. The chairs at the pool were 6x6 or 666. So I just
Wow.
That's interesting.
There was just a lot of representation of 666 in there. So I thought that was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that is. As we all know, 666 is the omen.
Boom, boom, boom.
Sign of the devil, sign of the beast.
Dun, dun, dun. And then even in the opening scene, so again, this is why I spent like 20 minutes in the first 5 minutes of the film. Maybe
this is why she's got 16 pages.
All the books on the shelf that she's standing in front of, I shouldn't say all because you couldn't read all of them, but the ones that caught my eye I thought were really interesting. There was a book on the nightstand called Blink, The Power of Thinking Without Thinking by Malcolm Gladwell. There was another book called Imperfect by Claire Phrase. Off the Cliff, there was Witches, The Conjure Women, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. There was an ethics book. There was another book called The Like War, which is how to weaponize social media. And then there was another book called This New Noise. So there was just a lot of books that, like, if you're staging a film, I don't know, it's just, does somebody who stages a film just go to the thrift store and just pick any books? Or why were these books so prominent?
Right.
And when you start kind of digging into the concept of some of these books, it was like, so the Imperfect book was about a girl who's lives in an impoverished city and she's kidnapped by basically the mega powerful corporation who runs tests on her and like try to escape. It was just, it's weird.
No, it is. It is very weird. But I'm going to ask a weirder question now. Who sings the song Sign of the Beast?
Pee Wee Herman.
Close. Bree, don't Google it. No, there's no Bree. You're disqualified.
No clue.
You're disqualified.
I didn't do it.
It's Iron Maiden.
Oh, yeah.
Such a great song.
Great song.
Iron Maiden. I knew that.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right, sorry.
I don't even know where to keep going with
Yeah,
this.
no, you're doing great.
Just go page by page.
Just page by page. Like, even the opening credits, like, there's just a lot of, like, black and white imagery, you know, showing a lot of anti-American stuff, a lot of nature, transportation, defense, financial systems, health, and technology. It was just, I guess, kind of telling you what the film was going to cover. But I think one of the things that really kind of bothered me is when that ship tanker, oil tanker, whatever, crashed into the shore and they're driving home, that they're just sitting there in silence. And then Amanda's character's like, a Starbucks. And then they all perk up and they're like, okay. And they go grab Starbucks. Like,
yeah, I thought that was kind of weird.
Like, they are so numb to,
or oblivious to everything going around.
Yeah. As if they're watching a video game or they're watching a movie or something like that. And they didn't just nearly get run over by a oil tanker.
So, speaking, like, I don't, this may be going off topic, but not really, because it's still related to the movie. The daughter, the whole entire time, she seems like she was the only one that was actually noticing everything, which kind of creeped me out in a way. The way she just sat there and just like blurted things out and noticed things, but like no one was paying attention to her.
Yeah, her parents didn't pay attention to her at all.
So like, I'm always makes me wonder like what it was the meaning behind that. Like, is it just because like people don't pay attention to the younger generation anymore, and we can learn from the younger generation? Like, what's?
I think that's very much a part of it, and I think people are so involved in their own lives that, like, even with the son, his girlfriend Taylor, his dad at one point, like when he's like, "Hey, Dad, do you think Taylor's okay?" and his dad's like, "Who?" You know, they're not paying attention to their kids in their lives. They're just, as long as they're happy, healthy, and breathing, there's that emotional disconnect, because in that opening scene, you have a dad listening to the radio, mom's on the phone talking to a friend, son's in the back seat with his headphones on listening to music, and the daughter's got her earbuds in watching her
Friends.
iPad. Yeah. So 4 people in a car on a road trip, not talking to each other, not interacting. There's a clear disconnect in how people connect with each other these days.
Yeah, no, it sounds like it shows the deconstruction of the family unit, where, yeah, I'm part of this group, but none of them are a active participant in the group.
Right.
They're just there to do their own thing, and father, son, mother, daughter, wife, sister are just titles, and that's it. There's no real meaning behind them.
Right.
It's just, we just share genetic material, and that's it. Where I'd rather hang out and be with whoever else.
That was weird.
Yeah, you're good.
No, I think it was the sound coming in from outer space.
Oh. Is it that loud shrieking noise that's going to start happening
No,
to
it
us
was a
now?
dun dun dun. It was a
Dun dun.
deep bassy. Yeah. Okay, so when I was doing some research on this, have you guys ever watched Mr. Robot?
I have not.
Okay.
No.
When I was doing research on this, it totally sent me on a rabbit hole to go start watching Mr. Robot, which also produced by the same director, Sam Esmail. And that show, definitely a mindfuck.
That's what the guy that played, what's his name from Queen, right?
Rami Malek.
Oh, yeah.
Rami Malek, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make sure I was thinking of the right show.
But so I saw someone had a theory out there that this Leave the World Behind film takes place in the same universe as Mr. Robot. And essentially the premise of like Mr. Robot is trying to take down the major corporations of the world called E-Corp, which he calls Evil Corp.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, that's an interesting theory. I watched a few episodes, but then I noticed, so when Amanda saw Danny in the parking lot doomsday prepping and putting stuff in his back of his truck, some of the FEMA food emergency kits or whatever had the E-Corp logo on it. So, and there was also, trying to remember. Oh, so Amanda was reading a book while she was at the house and on the beach called Beach Towel by the author Otto Irving, which was a fictional character from the Mr. Robot series.
Oh.
So I just like, there might be more Easter eggs out there that I haven't connected
So
yet.
do you think that the cyber attack was made by Mr. Robot?
Well, that's one of the theories. I haven't gotten to that episode, but apparently there is an episode in Mr. Robot where on 10 Mile Island, there was a nuclear power plant that was taken out by a hacker, which connects potentially to what Ruth's character was like. Where are the closest power plants here? Like, don't you remember what happened in Jersey a few months back or a few years back when the power plant was hacked by hackers?
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah.
That is fun. That's a lot of fun. That's very interesting.
Another thing to point out, that this movie obviously was made in 2020, right? We said 2020?
No, the book.
The book was 2020, the movie's 2023.
2023, yeah.
So I don't know when baseball schedules come out, but at one point during the film, Clay was watching the Washington Nationals versus the Atlanta Braves. And they're actually playing, like, based on the timeline of the story, we learned that this attack happened on September 17th into the 18th, so across that midnight hour. Well, within that time frame, in real life, the Washington Nationals are playing the Atlanta Braves on September 10th and 11th, which would be in alignment with the timeline of this film.
Yeah, they come out, I want to say, at least a year before. So
you would assume they made this movie 2022 and it came out 2023, depending on how long it took them.
They may have had knowledge on it. I'm not 100% certain, but either way, if they didn't, really, really weird.
Yeah.
But I think they did.
Okay.
Potentially, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah.
So I want to go back to the oil tanker. So the oil tanker was named the White Lion. And I don't know if you guys know this, but the White Lion was an English privateer ship that was the first ship to bring African slaves to the colonies in 1619. And it landed in Point Comfort, Virginia.
Okay.
Which was also interesting. So when they were driving to their vacation home, they had the option of, the highway roads. One of them said Point Comfort, and the other one was, Fort Mose Road. And so there was also a little bit of history about Fort Mose Road as well. So Fort Mose was constructed in 1738, and it was the first free Black community close to present-day St. Augustine, Florida, and actually played a critical role in the Underground Railroad and the reverse Underground Railroad for slaves who wanted to escape to the safety of Florida. So I thought the imagery or the symbolism was interesting, that they're driving down the highway, and knowing that there's like these racial tones and undertones in this film, they could have taken one direction and gone to Fort Mose, or they can go to Point Comfort, and they took the comfortable route. They took going to where their family is in Point Comfort. But
that's interesting.
When Clay was in the car and trying to find signal and losing the GPS and all of that, the only radio station that came in for a brief moment was that 1619, which again was the year that the slave ship came in.
Gotcha. Huh. That's fun. I love Easter eggs.
Yeah.
Do you like coloring them?
No.
You don't like coloring Easter eggs?
I like dyeing them, not coloring, because you don't color. You dip it into dye.
It's synonymous.
I don't know. People like use Sharpies and like markers and paint them and stuff these days.
Well, I used to take like the white crayon and you draw something on it and then you put it in the dye. And you can see it, what you wrote.
Yeah, that's called wax.
And it's kind of funny because don't know what I wrote because you forget where
it's
where you
wax.
left off.
Right, it's wax, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like crayons are wax. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm saying like that clear wax is right. I could be wrong. I'm asking. I'm genuinely asking.
It could be that, or it could just be a white crayon. Like I know people just use regular white crayons.
Okay.
That's what I used to use. If they don't have the clear wax, I use white crayons. The same thing.
You know what I want to do now is I want to take one of those and color the entire egg that and see if it gets dyed at all.
Ooh, we should try that. Then you can see where you missed.
Oh, I miss a lot. I'm always outside the lines. So, what do you think this movie was trying to tell us? Or explain to us? Or is there even... is it just something that was fictionally created for our amusement and to get us thinking in general? Or is there a foreboding warning coming from this movie?
I think initially when I first saw it, I went down the hyper conspiracy, especially knowing that the Obamas helped produce it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, former president, you obviously had access to some pretty privy information,
mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that there were so many details, it seemed like it was time's running out.
Mm-hmm.
September 17th and 18th is the day that it's going to happen, which is also the same day that an eclipse is going to happen, which is also depicted in the movie. There's an eclipse, but there's a real life eclipse happening on that date. So could those be related? You know, FEMA's been practicing what happens when we have blackouts and stuff like that. Just like before COVID happened, they were running practice on what happens if we have a pandemic. So like went down the super, this is a warning type of route. But, you know, kind of digging into this, while I still think it's a warning, I think it's also wake up, because we're so connected to our devices. We're so not interacting with each other. We still have social issues going on in this world that if, let's just say, China, Russia, and Iran all won, or which one are we that we don't like? Well, I thought we got along with one, Iran or Iraq. I always get them mixed up.
We invaded Iraq.
Okay, well, I don't know. Whatever. All of the people America pissed off in the past, you know, North Korea and all of that, if they all teamed up together and said, let's fuck America, it wouldn't be that hard, because we are nobody looks up anymore. We're always looking down at our phone. We're not looking up at the sky. People are crossing the street and not even like looking right and left because they're on their phones, you know, that sort of thing. Like, it wouldn't take much to take us out.
Yeah.
So wake up, people.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Wake up. Wake
me up before you go. No? Okay.
No.
Yeah, so, yes, go ahead.
No, I want to know what your thoughts are, but there are some like other big things I want to talk about.
Yeah, no, I'm not ending the episode. I'm just that question just popped in my head, and I wanted to ask it before I forgot it.
He was sparking conversation.
I definitely don't think it's all right, guys, this is what's going to happen.
Here's the plan.
Right. Because it would be silly, you know.
But the Obamas have a bunker in Hawaii.
Yeah, but they're not the only ones, right? I mean, there's...
Right.
Yeah.
So why do they have them if they don't know something?
Yeah, I'm sure it's... It's precautionary. You know, I mean, if I have unlimited money, I'm going to take every precaution I can as well. It doesn't mean that I know something will be coming. I just know there's a potential of something coming. So, again, I could be wrong. You know, that's just my thoughts. But yeah, I think this movie more represented a wake-up call that we all need to start getting along, you know, and start realizing that, especially politically, that our thoughts are not beliefs. They are opinions, and they should be treated with opinions. And when given evidence to the contrary, maybe we should open our minds up and evaluate. Something happened at work the other day, and this lady goes, I was talking to one gentleman, and this lady goes, the thing of politics and came up, and she looks at the gentleman I was talking to and goes, "Oh, is he on our side or is he on the other side?" And I turned to her and I go, "What side?" I go,
"What side do you think I'm on?"
I go, "No, I mean, you know, it's Republican, Democrat, right?" And I go,
but I mean,
right. And that's what I addressed. I go, "What side are you talking about?" I go, "We're all Americans." And I think that's the one thing that gets lost, is that we are all Americans. Mm-hmm. Just because we have a different opinion as to how things should be run doesn't make one side evil and one side better and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think this movie was a big wake-up call to we need to start working together. We are all Americans. We are all one big melting pot of a country. And there's so many different opinions that need to be objectively reviewed, looked at, and taken into account with respect and grace so we can all move forward as a unit and not crumble as people in different factions.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So anyway, I'm off my little thing. Well, do you have something to say?
Yes.
Okay.
My thoughts on this whole thing has to go back with Lynette. So with the technology, I just think it's trying to tell us that technology is ruling our everyday lives. We rely too much on it.
Mm-hmm.
That we need to take a break from it and realize that we can't rely on that one little thing because it breaks. It can be hacked. It can ruin everything. And yeah. That's it. But I also have a question that has nothing to do with this thought.
Okay.
So at the end of the movie, Rose, she finds the bunker. Why is it that bunker has everything working? Has the TVs working? She's able to watch her show. Why is it?
It's running on a generator. But
not the generator. Because their house had electricity. It's just they couldn't.
Yeah.
There's no Wi-Fi. There's no.
Right. She didn't have Wi-Fi or anything either. She put in a DVD of.
But the TV was working. There was a news broadcast that came on TV.
I missed that part then.
Yeah, it said there's a.
It could have just been.
You said it when you were going through your thing.
So when she went into the basement, she had to turn a dial, which essentially turned on the generator and the power that lit up the whole basement. But if you noticed the upstairs, it was all dark. She was eating at the kitchen table in the dark, but she essentially engaged the power to the basement. And that's when the TV monitors and everything all lit up.
Yeah, and there was a message, and it was a news thing saying that there's radiation levels in the cities and all that stuff. So there was actually something broadcasting on there.
Do you think that maybe they had like an antenna? And since the antennas doesn't work off of satellites and cable does, maybe it was receiving it from an antenna instead of.
So it was not digital; it was an analog signal.
Yeah,
because that's the one thing I always wondered is why was she able to see that and everything else? When they tried to turn on her TV at the house, it was just white noise and.
That might be why is that the GH's house was all digital, and the bunker had an analog system as well.
Right, you go to.
You get rabbit ears. Remember back in the day, the rabbit ears?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
The girl even made a joke about the rabbit ears. How are rabbit ears going to help me get the TV back on?
Right. So I remember that. Yeah. Yeah. So that might be the answer to that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Lynette, I know you have much more to dive into, so please go right ahead.
So the first night when they had the blue screen and saying this is not a drill or whatever it says.
This is not a test.
This is not a test, yeah. After the family had gone to sleep, there was a flicker of a CNN broadcast of the United States of hotspots of where the most disruption had occurred. And obviously you can see over major metros were dark red or whatever. But if you looked a little closer, that picture of the country had a QR code on the map. That QR code can be scanned by your phone right now, and it's going to take you it links you through the Esmail Corp cyber attack, which redirects you to Mercer County, which is a real abandoned amusement park in West Virginia.
Oh, wow. I'm doing that right now.
That's interesting.
So
Lake Shawnee Abandoned Amusement Park.
Yeah. So they do tours there. It's still it's not functioning, but they still do tours there, I guess. The history of that park was that it used to be owned by Shawnee Native American tribe up until 1783. Then there was an entrepreneur, Conley Snidow, something like that, wanted to put in this amusement park, and essentially he sold his property to another family called the Clay family, which I thought was interesting.
Very interesting.
That Clay was one of the main characters. So the Clay family owned this park, Mitchell Clay, until it was kind of forced to shut down because 2 children were killed there. There were accidents on the swing and there was a drowning in the water. So an investor came in 20 years later after this park had closed down. He tried to dig up the ground and found there was a whole bunch of bones under there as part of the Native Americans tribe as a burial ground. So whether the ground is cursed, what else is going on under there, but even more importantly, why the hell is this QR code in this movie? What are they trying to say here? This is where my brain switches of, okay, maybe it's not just the details to set the scene. Why are you sending people or showing people this?
Yeah, that's really, really, really weird. I agree.
I guess the only other thing, I shouldn't say the only other thing. I could go into details here and there, but I don't want to drive your brains nuts. But I did think another thing that was interesting is when GH went to his neighbor's house, the Huxleys.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like that was a nod to, how do you pronounce his name? Aldous Huxley, who wrote A Brave New World.
Oh, yeah.
Which obviously is about a futuristic dystopian type of world. So again, a little Easter egg there. That is a little cute little Easter egg. Yeah. I don't know. Where else do you want me to go with this?
I mean, it's up to you. This is your ship. You're steering it right into the beach.
I feel like I'm just like saying things. I'm asking you questions.
No,
I'm just like,
let
me tell you this.
Yeah,
let
no,
me tell you
please.
that.
Yeah, no, tell us this because this is all very intriguing. Like I highly doubt any of us will ever go that deep and hard into this movie. So you can go as deep and hard,
especially going to see its little tiny QR code.
Yeah.
On the screen like that.
Yeah. No, that was crazy.
But just like other couple things. So when Rose was at the Thorns house, the bunker house, the outside of the bunker said Commodus.
Okay.
Commodus.
Uh-huh.
I looked it up and Commodus was a Roman Empire.
Okay.
Emperor.
Yeah.
Emperor. He was mostly known for his love of gladiatorial arenas, and he was also known as a cruel and erotic and treacherous ruler.
A cruel, erotic, or erratic?
Erratic.
Okay.
I probably said erotic.
No, you did, and I was game.
You're like, I'm on board.
Yeah, let's.
Spring's like topic change.
Yeah,
no.
Commodus, you and me, baby. We're gonna go hit the nightlife in Rome.
Yeah.
All right. So he was a cruel prick.
Yeah.
All right.
So why was that there?
Well, probably because maybe in case of the world turning into a cruel prick, they had a place to go. I don't know.
Yeah. But
or maybe give an insight to the people that owned the place, what they were like.
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
But I also wondered, why weren't they there? Where did they go?
Well, if that's like their summer home, they could have been in the city.
But
But
wait, I thought there was something that made it think like they were there.
No, I don't think so. I don't know. Or maybe they were out of town and got caught up with all the bullshit.
The roads were clogged and they couldn't get away.
Right.
Yeah.
Plane crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I do feel as though that for that little town that was kind of bustling in the beginning, all of a sudden was just completely empty. And no one was around. Like if it's a cyber attack, like I don't think people would just disappear as well. I was kind of curious and confused as to where all the people were at.
That did seem odd too.
I would think there'd be more people wandering around like that Hispanic lady in the fields that Clay abandoned.
Yeah. Well, how big is Long Island? Do they really have
no
farms
idea.
and fields out there like Clay ran into?
It's long.
I'm gonna have to restrict her from saying anything anymore. Is it even an island? I'm just joking. It is an island. Yes, it is. That's why they call it Long Island, and it's probably long.
Is there only one bridge to get back to the mainland? Like, is that like
maybe.
the film sort of depicts?
Maybe
one way in and out.
Yeah, probably. Or I mean, there's probably multiple ways by sea.
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
bridge road,
Yeah. Driving wise.
driving wise.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure, I think there's ferries that you could drive your car on.
Ferries. My mom hates ferries.
And by fairies, the mythical creature, right? Not the...
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I enjoy both kinds of fairies.
We know that.
Yeah.
All right, good.
We learned that recently.
Recently? Recently? How long have I known you? You've learned it a long time ago.
I've known it since I know Frank.
Yeah, pretty much say. All right, any other tidbits or Easter eggs on Leave the World Behind?
One thing that I thought was a little bit outside of the film, but I thought it was interesting, was Julia Roberts dated Matthew Perry.
Okay.
And there was a constant reference to the show Friends on that film. It's also kind of weird that if Rose was watching the show, she would see her mom on the show.
In the very beginning.
In the very beginning. But after this film came out, she was also elusive when people were asking her about because the film came out it came out after his death.
Okay.
So Matthew Perry died on October 28th, and the film was released December 8th. And she, I don't know, it seems weird that, sure, celebrities only date for a few months, and she's been married to her husband for 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
But weird?
No, I don't think so. Because, I mean, what's her face and Brad Pitt dated and were married?
Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, they were married.
Yeah, but I don't know, you make a film and you reference the time of I guess everybody in celebrity world all dates each other. It's pretty cesspool-y.
Yeah, and then being from New York and the whole show takes place in New York. It was such a popular show. The mom could have shared the show with her daughter and saying, "Oh, you'll love this."
No, but I just mean in real life.
Oh,
Julia Roberts was weird and elusive about Matthew Perry.
Well, I mean, maybe she just didn't want to talk about it. I mean, she has that right.
Everyone has the right to say what they don't want to say and say, "Don't." You meant what I knew.
Yeah.
You meant what I
say
know.
what you don't want to say.
I heard what you thought.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, I mean, she could have just, maybe she was just fighting her own grief and just didn't want to, who knows? Who knows? I mean, I think sometimes we forget that celebrities are just people as well with the same thoughts and griefs and feelings. And sometimes it's hard to process. So, I don't know.
Maybe they're all evil.
Maybe they are all reptilians.
They probably are. They don't have tear ducts, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, if they are reptilians, I'd like to get my hands on them and hold them.
You're weird.
If you're a reptilian, please contact Frank at fringebeyondlimits.com.
Please.
He would like to talk to you.
I would like to hold you.
And do a lot of nasty things.
That was Brianna who said that. I didn't.
But you're thinking it.
I'm thinking a lot of things. That doesn't really count.
Gross.
What?
So I know you said you didn't really get the ending.
The part is why we end on the series or watching the series finale of Friends. Why end like that? That's why I want to know.
I think at least my interpretation of it is that a few times throughout the film, the daughter Rose was like, "I just need to feel good right now. I need to feel better, and I'm so invested in these people, and I love these people, even though they're imaginary." They even say the show is nostalgia for a time that never really was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it kind of illustrates how people live on a screen. They live their life vicariously through the folks on TV or in movies, and they're not really living their own life.
Mm-hmm.
It's a form of escapism. Our devices are pacifiers. I mean, you sit on a train, you sit on a plane, nobody's talking to each other. Everybody's has a pacifier in their hand. That's what they are. And I think the world is potentially falling around her. And maybe there's a little bit of naivety and innocence about that from her.
Mm-hmm.
But it really shows the disconnect.
Yeah.
That's my interpretation of the ending there.
No, I agree. I mean, we hold so much stock in what's on television and the lives that are on television, even through what you call it, like the Real Housewives. What are those
like,
shows?
Just reality TV.
Reality TV. You know, just because it's called reality TV, it's still the zero part of reality. But people live and die. I mean, you know, look at the Twilight movies, Team Jacob and Team Vampire. I forget. Edward. You know, I mean, oh yeah. So speaking of that, let's talk about that, Team Edward and Team Jacob, right? These were teenage boys at the time that adult women were swooning over and going, oh my God, can you imagine if that was reversed? If they were teen girls,
well, hypothetically,
men
Edward was like 100 years old in the movie.
Hypothetically, he was a teenage boy.
That's 100 years old because he was a vampire.
Doesn't matter. He was a teenage boy. What about Jacob? Jacob was a teenage boy. They were both teenagers in real life.
In real life, yeah.
In real life, too. It's not like...
But in the movie, Edward was like 100 years or something.
It's not like it was like Beverly Hills 90210 when they're like 25-year-old adults playing a 17-year-old, child. No, these are children playing children, and adult women were...
Because we haven't had a good boy band in a long time.
Is that what it is?
There's probably.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, NSYNC was...
I know, but they were already, the band was already broken up.
What about New Direction?
One Direction?
I don't know. I don't know boy bands, as you can tell.
I saw the poster in your room.
Oh, all of them. K-pop, right? Is that one of them?
That's like a genre.
BTS?
Oh, BTS.
Yeah, that was like episode 2.
Something like that.
Yeah, BTS.
BTS. I feel as though that's like a naughty acronym for some reason.
BEK.
Ooh.
Yeah.
BEK.
Yeah.
Black Eyed Kids. I always think of BTK.
Maybe that's what I was thinking of originally, and for some reason I thought boy band. I don't know why.
Do you know who BTK was?
Yeah, I do.
Lynette?
That was a killer, wasn't it?
Yeah. Bind, torture, kill. That's what BTK stood for. So
is that a real life one or a TV show one?
No, it's a real life one.
Oh, add them to the list.
Put them on the list. So, all right.
Oh.
That was an intriguing episode.
So I liked go watch it again. Watch all the things change.
Yeah, I'm going to now. And if you guys have any insights on the movie, go ahead and send us an email. Let us know your thoughts and your conspiracy theories out there.
Yeah.
Well, we can wrap this one up and call it a night. Thank you, everyone. We love you. I'm Frank.
I'm Bree.
This is Lynette.
And you've been listening to Fringe
Beyond Limits.